Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock. I'm the founder and president of Giant Jacks Media, where we are helping others to grow and nurture their businesses. This is Giant TV, and I love this channel. I get to have dynamic people on here doing incredible things, and certainly Bill Black is one of them. Welcome, Bill. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Paul. Great to be here.
Yeah, and of course you're a Vistage Chair. We've got to know each other, and I want to get into what you're doing with your group because you have a very cool thing going on there. But I want to start with a little bit about your background, what you did in corporate America. If you could tell us that.
Yeah, happy to. 40 years in corporate America, Paul. How
Wow,
crazy.
but you're like 42 years old. How does that
Right.
work?
Yeah, I started when I was in kindergarten. But no, it really took off like a rocket way back in 1994 when I became a marketing director with Dunkin' Brands and was with Dunkin' and Baskin Robbins for 10 years. And that really was my introduction to the whole franchise environment, but also coffee. Um, you know, Dunkin' is a big coffee brand, and
Yeah.
spending 10 years there with them, it was my first introduction into that world. And then after 10 years with Dunkin', I actually moved into the competitor. I moved over and worked for 5 years at Starbucks. And
Oh,
Starbucks hired me as a marketing director, moved me to Atlanta, Georgia,
yep.
where I am still today,
Yep.
and was with Starbucks for, gosh, almost 5 years
Hmm.
before launching out on my own, doing coaching and consulting for various food and beverage brands mostly, but did some other things too. And then in 2018, early 2018, I was contacted by an up and coming coffee brand called Scooters Coffee.
Oh,
And Scooters contacted me to come in, just do a simple, we need you to do like a 6 month fractional CMO role. And at the time, that's what I was doing. So perfect, a lot of
yeah.
coffee in my background, go to work for a coffee company for 6 months. That was great. And I get to Omaha, and within 30 days, I really fell in love with the brand. I think they must have fallen in love with me because the arm twisting started pretty hard. And they convinced me to move my wife to Omaha, Nebraska for 5 years.
Wow.
And,
Okay. All
but I
right.
was actually with Scooters for 6.5 years as their chief marketing officer and a member of their executive team. And
Okay.
it was really a wonderful way to kind of end my um, retail and corporate world career, if you will. But just last year, July of 2024, I retired from Scooters Coffee and moved my wife back to Atlanta, Georgia, closer to our daughter and three granddaughters.
Oh, wonderful. I just got to say quickly that those are iconic brands because you bring them up, and I remember in San Diego, I grew up. There was a family in my grammar school who owned a Baskin Robbins franchise
Right.
in San Diego, and of course, that was a place we'd go all the time, and got some free ice cream because I knew the family.
Right. All 31 flavors, right? So
Exactly. Exactly.
So what's interesting about that, Paul, is that when I look back over my career, Dunkin' and Baskin and Starbucks, and then for Scooters Coffee, when I got to Scooters, we only had 140 stores, and now they will open their 900th store here in the next couple of months.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, we were only in about 7 states, and now we're in 32 states. I keep saying we're. I've been away for a year almost,
I
but
know you're gone.
so
You're gone.
ingrained there, it's hard to get away from it.
Oh,
Um,
well, that's great. And then the Vistage scenario, how did you get into doing that?
I had a woman that worked for me at Scooters Coffee. She was one of my social media managers, and her father was a Vistage Chair, is a Vistage Chair in Omaha, Nebraska, Rick Faber. And Rick reached out to me when he knew I was into my final 6 months because I had to give 2 years notice at Scooters. They wanted 2 years notice. So in my final 6 months, I had everything wrapped up. I had my replacement hired, onboarded, was ready to go. And Rick reached out to me and said, "Hey, let's have coffee." And we met. He told me about Vistage, and he's a master chair, best practice chair. He's got like 4 groups, I think, in Omaha and Sioux City,
Yeah.
Iowa. And he told me all about it. I was aware of Vistage. I had a client of mine about 10 years ago who was a member of a Vistage group in Atlanta.
Oh,
And I knew about Vistage through my employee's father, but I had never been a member in
yeah.
Vistage. And so Rick talked to me about it, and then the next thing I know, I had an internal recruiter there in San Diego that reached out to me about becoming a chair, and about a 3 month discovery process. And my why was always, when I retired, was retired, or I call refired. When I refired myself, was to how do I help people? How do I take 40 years that's up here, an experience, and help executives grow their business? And I just love the model. I love that they focus at Vistage focuses on small and mid-sized businesses.
Yep.
Love the whole concept around the day meeting, and and a speaker network that is huge on
Yeah.
hundreds of topics. But then the issue processing, where we help CEOs, business leaders, founders, owners, you know, take care of those issues that are keeping them up at night,
Yeah.
and having a group of peers that help them, come up with solutions and hold them accountable. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that model.
Yep. Nope. Get it. And I want to jump into that a bit with your group. And so you're building a CE group, Chief Executive Group.
Right.
And what size business is in there? And give me kind of an idea of who's in there and what you're doing.
Yeah, currently we have hopefully get our sixth and seventh member signed this week, so that'll be
Nice.
good. So getting very
Nice.
close to launching. On the lower end, we have a business that's in the $4 or $5 million range, and but growing.
Yeah.
They've seen exponential growth over the last 2 to 3 years, and they've got big plans moving forward. And then I have a member in my group that a construction company that's in excess of 250 million.
Oh, it's a big
So we have
company.
wide range there, and everybody else is kind of right in between those two.
Yeah. And Bill, you have non-competing. So the people in
Right.
different industries, correct?
That's right. Yeah. So right now I've got a construction executive. I've got a remodel and design executive. I've got an aerospace and defense executive. How about that?
Oh,
That's pretty crazy, right?
yeah.
A logistics CEO, a digital media CEO, and then I've got probably 12, 13 others that are under consideration right now.
Yeah, and I imagine that you've got to be pretty selective of who you let in because it's got to be a personality fit. Obviously, non-competing, but so when you're going about that, what's the process look like to decide if it's a good fit?
Well, first of all, you want to make sure that they qualify from a financial standpoint, and that
Right.
they have a growth mindset. That's the first thing I look for. Is this someone who is wanting to take their business to the next level,
Hmm.
or are they just simply satisfied with the status quo? And if I sense that there's a satisfaction of the status quo, it's probably not going to make the cut.
And
I'm
you'll point that out. You'll point that
I'll point
out.
that out to them. I'll say, hey, that's fine. If that's, if you're comfortable with that, and that's what you want to do, I totally respect that. But everybody else in my group are going to be of a growth mindset, and they're looking to take their businesses to the next level. And
Yeah.
so we need to have people around them that are doing the exact same thing. And to your point about the no compete, there's no there's no CEO or president or business leader from two from the same category. So, for instance, I wouldn't have two construction CEOs,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Unless it's a residential and a commercial.
Okay.
Might consider that if the one that's already in would be agreeable to it, we may consider that, but certainly would not look to bring in um, from the same industry, competitive CEOs from the same industry.
Yeah, and I gotta believe because you're meeting monthly. The plan is you meet monthly. I know in the group setting, everyone comes in there. I've heard so much about those meetings, how awesome they are, and people are opening up. What is your role in that group? I mean, the type of guy that you run it? Are you quarterbacking the thing, or do you let other people get involved? Like, what is your MO when it comes to that?
Yeah. So as their chair, it is a facilitation role. I like to call it air traffic control. I'm
Yeah, right.
almost, the chair serves almost as an air traffic controller,
Hmm.
where he or she is leading the meeting, identifying the needs for the meeting, identifying the speakers for the meeting, and determining what the guiding principles are for the group, determining what the core values are for the group, and then also leading that whole issue processing uh, part that you referred to earlier, where we help each CEO identify what is it that is keeping you up at night, what is it that's giving you the most challenge in your business today. And many times, what they put initially on the board as what they think is what their biggest problem is, after you dig deeper and ask a lot of clarifying questions around that, you find out that might not even be the issue at all. There may be
Yeah.
there may be a much deeper issue that we need to address before we even get, to what they think the problem is. Follow me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yep.
that takes some skill in order to ask those types of clarifying questions, and then I help facilitate the group to also ask those questions. And once we identify what it is we believe the real issue is, then we start to dig down into suggestions, recommendations, and then we will agree. The CEO will agree on two or three that they want to take back to their business and implement and work on, and then they have to come back the next month, and be accountable for that.
Accountability. Yeah. Yeah.
But between the two meetings, they will meet with me as their executive coach, as their chair, for 2 hours, at least 2 hours. Of course, I'm
Okay.
available whenever they want to talk. But I will meet with them intentionally for 2 hours in between meetings, and we'll dig a lot deeper into that issue and then any other issue that they're dealing with, at work or at home.
I've got to believe that you've got incredible experience in the corporate environment and you've been in the shoes of the members you're dealing with. And you can tell me what you think about this, but I got to imagine as you're encountering these issues, you've probably encountered many of them yourself, and you may know the answers in your head, but you can't tell people the answer, right? You've got to kind of work with them to guide them to the answer. Is that a fair way to assess that?
Yeah, no, that's really fair. That's spot on. It's the difference in coaching and consulting. If you're a consultant, then you come in and you do your discovery and you do all the stuff behind the consulting world, and then you come back to the client with, here are 3 4 things that we recommend you implement. As a coach, you're basically through asking questions and through leading the group, you're getting them to come up with the solutions, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I heard a video, when we were going through academy training. There was a chair who said something that stuck with me, and it was, as a chair, you're not here to answer their questions, but to question their answers.
Oh, I love it.
And
Love
I
it.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got to tell you this because you just brought this to my mind. It was the greatest thing ever. I got the 4 kids. When my first kid went off to high school, big deal for the family, nervous and everything. And the principal of the high school said a great guy, said a great thing. He said, "Hey, when your kid's in grammar school, you are the manager. You're managing everything for them, telling them go here, do this, do that. Now they're in high school, and I've got to tell you, parents, you are now the consultant. You
Yeah.
can't manage everything. They've got independence. They're going to consult with you." Anyways, I thought it was a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And you,
No.
yeah, yeah,
Spot
yeah,
on.
yeah,
And I love that. I love helping people. I've been coaching marketing executives now, since 2010, and so this is spot on for me. And what has helped me as a member of the executive team at Scooters Coffee, but then also working for big brands like Starbucks and Dunkin', what has
yeah,
helped me quite a bit is that it has helped provide me with a tremendous amount of executive perspective.
yeah,
So my lens is not just marketing. Marketing might be my hammer, that might be my career, right? But through all of this experience that I've had tremendous exposure to real estate and finance and accounting and
oh
legal
yeah,
and HR and all of these areas that make up, an executive team network with my peers. Uh, so,
yeah.
so I can speak to that with these CEOs who are running these small to mid-sized businesses, and many of the times they feel like they're working in the business and not on the business. I help them. I help them take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
You find that your members outside of the monthly meetings are connected with each other, and now there's a network, and they're helping each other and interacting.
They are, and in fact, and I haven't even formally launched yet.
Right.
I think I'm within 30 days of doing that, but even the 5 or 6 members that I already have, they are already beginning to connect with one another, and that's pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, it's got to make you feel great when you foster that. That's awesome. So who are you looking for now? What seats do you have open?
So I have, we need to have 8 qualified CEOs to launch the group,
Yep.
right? So I'm looking for someone in manufacturing. Would love to have see manager. I'm looking for a law firm CEO or partner.
Yep.
I'm looking for there's a national nonprofit. I would love to add a national nonprofit CEO to my group. And here in
Okay.
Atlanta, we have a bunch of them. Looking at software engineering as a possibility as well. Logistics. Would love to see a logistic CEO. I have met so many people through this process of building this group, and I have seen and I've met so many different people in so many different worlds that it's just amazing
Yeah.
what all's out there and how much need there is. There's no shortage of need.
Yeah, it's exciting. I've come to learn a lot about Vistage and love it so much. So going forward, I want to tell people listening to this, wherever you're watching this, because we stream this everywhere, LinkedIn, YouTube.
Right.
That Bill's contact information will be around this video, maybe up here or down here. Get connected. I imagine, Bill, if somebody wants to learn more about the group, who's in the group, what's involved, what does that look like? Is that a Zoom meeting? Do you go meet them, or what do you do?
Yeah. So if they reach out to me either through LinkedIn, or they can call the number or my email address. I believe you're
Yeah,
providing that right here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'll give them access to my calendar, and they can go right in and schedule a 15 or a 30-minute session with me. And
Hmm.
I'd be happy to answer all the questions they have. I probably have 3 or 4 every day. Uh,
Oh, is that right?
People that are asking and wanting to know about information about the group, who's in the group. Um, Everybody has a different question. Sometimes people know quite a bit about Vistage. Sometimes they don't know anything
Yeah,
about Vistage. So
yeah.
so I have some really robust discussions, and if you just schedule the time, we'll have a great conversation.
Yeah, because I know you well enough that at those meetings, those are not sales pitches. Those are like, get acquainted.
Uh,
Let's see where this works. If it doesn't work, okay, fine. But yeah, those are great discussions to have. Well, awesome. I appreciate you doing this. I know you're very, very busy with everything, so thank you. And obviously, we're going to be talking a lot more about stuff.
Absolutely, I appreciate it, Paul. This has been great.
Okay. All right. Talk soon, Bill.
Bye bye.